Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your coach Renz, and today what we want to talk about is how can you neutralize the rhythm of happiness so that you stay in a higher frequency of joy and happiness and peace. Okay, so this is how it works. Now, if you've listened to some of my videos before, or if you may have heard it through other people, you've heard of the law of vibration, and that you got to raise your vibration in order for you to be at a higher state of being. Then you also have heard the law of mentalism, where it says whatever you think is what you're going to receive. Now, some people have conceptualized that as the law of attraction, but really that is just the aspect of the law of mentalism, where whatever you think is what you manifest. But there are multiple laws that go in between, and if you listen to some of my other videos about the 7 hermetic laws, then you'll understand that. But let's just focus on happiness. Happiness is on a polarity scale. Happiness is an emotion. It is a state of being that gives you an emotional delight, right? So happiness and sadness are on the same scale. By the same measure that you can be happy, the same measure you can be sad. You can be in joy and you can be in depression, either or. And then there are so many levels in between where you're good, you're okay, you're decent, you're feeling some kind of way. You have all those different things in between. So in truth, how do we get to happiness and stay there? Because, the law of rhythm says that you'll swing to happiness and then you swing back to sadness. That everything goes up, comes down. Everything's high, then it goes low. You have your good times, then you have your bad times. So the question is, how do we just stay over here with the good times? And some people have mastered this. They've discovered the law of neutrality, right? The law of neutrality says that you can neutralize that swing to a certain degree. Instead of your swing being as far to the right as it is to the left, you can get to the right, to the level of happiness, and stay there and kind of just balance in between the two. So how do we get there? There are a few things that we can take into account to make sure that we can stay happy. And in relationships, this is a very, very important thing for you to be able to master in order to have great relationships. And it's really a measure of you not being in denial, right? See, some people will tell you that the way to do this is to ignore the bad things, ignore the negativity, ignore and bury down deep the feelings that give you all these negative, this negative outlook, this negative lifestyle. And realize that these are feelings, these are not thoughts. You can't think your way out of it. You can't say, oh, I'm just gonna think my way happy, I'm gonna think happy, and then I'm going to be happy. No, you will have these feelings, and you got to deal with these feelings, right? So you can't just bury them, because when you bury them, then what happens is that they bubble up, and they grow, and then they turn into this thing, and then boom, they unleash upon somebody who is more than likely is not deserving of everything that they're about to receive, because you've been bottling up this sadness. You've been bottling up this anger, this depression. It's been growing and growing inside you till finally one day it just explodes. And then that person receives the brunt of not only the little bit of thing that they may have done to cause you to feel that way, but they start to receive what everybody has done to you over a period of time, and all the sadness and anger and depression and disappointment that you have been building up. And then all of a sudden that person receives it, and they're really not deserving of it. So what is it? What is it? How do we solve this issue? So evidently we can't bury it, and we can't ignore it, because if we ignore it, then it'll fester like a disease. And then the next thing you know, all of a sudden it's infected our entire lives, and you got to chop it off, and you got to chop people off, and you got to, now we want to relocate our entire life and start brand new. So we can't let it fester either, because that just keeps us down that just will swing us all the way back to the sadness, to the depression, right? So how do we alleviate this? How do we deal with it? How do we neutralize it so that our swing becomes minimal? It's very simple, yet hard to do. About 4 years ago, we're getting ready to leave my apartment downtown. It's me and my children. We're getting ready to leave, and my daughter, she dares her little brother to knock on these people's door and then just keep walking. I mean, we've all done that sort of thing. But we're in an apartment building. We're in a condo building. We're walking down a hallway. So he does it. Boom, boom, boom. He knocks on the door. And then he starts walking away. And I look at him like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, see, Sydney dared me to do it. And I was like, oh, no. So then the guy comes to the door, and I make him go down. And I tell him, I explain to the gentleman what happened. And then I tell my son, you will apologize. And even though the guy's like, oh, it's okay, it's all right. I know it's not really. But I made him apologize for that. And so he apologized, and now we're moving on. So now he's sad. Then we get in the elevator, and my daughter, she gets all sad, and she starts taking up for me because I'm fussing at him about you just doing exactly what somebody dares you to do. It's not good. It's not wise. So I'm giving him the lesson. I'm criticizing the activity, but reaffirming my son. So, but then she gets into this sad state, and she's all crying. She's like, well, it's my fault because I dared him and all that. So then I give her a lesson. I criticize her actions, but then emphasize the greatness of her being. So we go through that process. Now, here's the thing. This is where this lesson comes into play. So we're walking out, and then I tell them, I say, okay, you two, y'all have until we get up to this corner. It's about a block away. Y'all have until we get up to this corner. When we get up to, by the time we get up to this corner, you would need to have dealt with those emotions. Let them live. Experience whatever it is that they are trying to tell you, and then let them go. Realize that it is just an emotion that has to run its course. It's kind of like when you get the flu. You may have to let it run its course. You're gonna let these emotions run their course. Take from them whatever it is just trying to teach you, and then let it go. Don't hold on to it. Don't keep it as part of your being. Don't make it a part of your state. Don't now let that affect the rest of your life, or the rest of, and for that moment, affect the rest of the day. And so by the time we got up to the corner, then I expressed to them, I said, okay, and this is, if you've been around me, then you know that I have this saying. And I told them, okay, now it is time to get back to happy. We back to happy. And so in that moment, as we progress up to the corner, because my kids know that the next statement is going to be a back to happy, they dealt with the emotion, dealt with the state. They realized their actions that were wrong. They dealt with the fact that they were sad, that they got fussed at, that they, whatever they took on about it. And by the time we got to the corner, we was back to happy. This is what I do in my relationships as well. It's back to happy. We have an argument, we have an issue, we talk about it, we find a solution for it, and then after we find a solution, we deal with the emotions. We don't just sit in it, but we deal with it. We let it run its course. It's kind of like when you're meditating. You just let whatever it is run its course, and then you get back to happy. That's how you neutralize it. If you have a situation that you're dealing with, don't dwell on it. Don't stay stuck in it. Don't let it fester. But deal with the emotions that it brought about. And then, as soon as you've dealt with it, realize it, and you let it run its course, go back to happy. When you do this, you increase the vibrational pattern of happiness in your life and joy in your life. That's how it works. So start working on it, because your greatness is non-negotiable, and so is mine.